RC family. Oh man, God done blessed us with a podcast, y'all. Hey, welcome to the RC Lounge podcast with your host, EKJ 24000. Hey, this is where RC family we can come and just relax after a long day's work and just talk about RC racing, RC bashing, fifth scale, anything going on in the industry. This is where we can go and just relax and just chill, man, and just have a good conversation about RC. Hey, get ready for that episode. Let's go. And remember to check out my YouTube channel, EKJ24000 on YouTube. Remember to like, subscribe, check me out, EKJ24000 on YouTube. Like and subscribe. All right, y'all. Let's get it. Hey, welcome to another episode of the RC Lounge podcast with your boy EKJ24000. Hey man, hope everybody had a great day today. Hey, the weather's breaking. It's warming up. Them trees out there blooming. I know it's still kind of cool and cold. You know, places still thawing out up north and stuff like that. But down south, baby, hey, we heating up down here. Today was kind of overcast, rainy day today, but great day. Temperatures are going up. We got a lot of races coming available. We've been down. We had the big hype of SIC. And then after SIC, everything kind of just went downhill for February. But hey, it's warming up. I think, man, hey, y'all race promoters, I think February is a month. I know it's hard trying to judge the weather and everything, but I think we may need a little something, a couple of more races scheduled in February, man, because I think it just, that big hype from SIC, and then we get ready to get into, the rest of the race season, really to start up into late March, early April. I think we need a little something to get us going and hold us over until late March and middle March and April and, those months. So, but yeah, I think February might be a good month for race promoters and race people to put on, a good time right up in there. I know it's kind of, again, touch and go with the weather, but I think it's some good days in February we can go and put it on, especially down here in the Southeast. But yeah, y'all, thanks again for logging in and just tuning in and jumping in. On the RC Lounge podcast tonight, I got the fast man, the beast of the East. I talked to this young man at AMS point 14. I said, bro, man, great race. I know you fell kind of short. I know you didn't end up where you wanted to do. You drove the wing off your buggy. Hey, you came up to that last bump spot and just ran out of time. You had the speed, just ran out of time. I'm talking about this man drove the wing off his nitro buggy and just fell short, just ran out of time. It wasn't because anything else, just ran out of time. But yeah, man, I got Cody Ingram here in the lounge, man, just waiting backstage. Ready for me to pull him in and introduce him to y'all. And RC family, again, I just appreciate this another opportunity to bring y'all an awesome guest and just to give us some knowledge on racing and just to give us some knowledge on life situations, how to build businesses and how to maintain everything and still be able to enjoy the things we love to do, like RC racing. So let me bring my main man up in here, Cody Ingram. Welcome, bro. What's going on, man? What's going on? Cody. Okay. Yes, sir. Hey, man. We totally appreciate you, bro. We gotta get it to you, man. You're a good ambassador for RC racing. And man, like I said, I want to give you all your flowers and just say, man, we just appreciate all your hard work. And just stay at it. And hey, we appreciate you, bro. We appreciate you.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. So yeah, man, Cody, just tell us where you from.
So I'm from Cleveland, Tennessee, about 30 minutes
Okay.
above Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So I've lived here my whole life. Right now, I currently live in Benton, Tennessee, which is like 10 minutes east.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but really, there's not any close tracks to us. Like you got the Rock up in Knoxville, or you got Loganville down in
Right.
Atlanta, but both
Okay.
ones are like a 2 hour drive.
Yeah. Cool, 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 cool. So have you had a chance to run at the Rock in and anything like that? Because I've been thinking about hitting the Rock up real
So I
seriously.
I just ran the Rock's Tennessee State Championship race this past weekend. It's a 3 day
Mm-hmm.
event. They had 456 entries.
Ooh, yeah. Big.
Uh, but
Mm-hmm.
man, I just couldn't seem to pull my own head out of my rear end this weekend. The All the equipment was good, but man, the driver
Yeah.
sucked, and that's the best thing I can tell you.
Yeah, man. It'd be like that we had on weekends when everything just feel like it's just a struggle, but sometimes you just have to, persevere on through, and sometimes it just not it don't be our day. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
for me
yeah,
personally, the man, I struggle on high bite surfaces. Like
yeah.
track gets high bite, you if I don't have the setup on point dialed, I
Mm-hmm.
struggle. It's nothing. I don't care to admit it. When the tracks are blown out or
Yeah,
when the tracks just don't have the grip, that's when I shine. Because that comes back from the older RC days.
yeah.
That's that
Okay.
skill set that you still got, from 15 years ago. This
Mm-hmm.
new high bite stuff, it takes another driving skill. And that's one I'm having to acquire.
Yeah. It just take time. Yeah, and how about it? It's always tricky, man, because you got to find the right pistons, shock piston package, all that kind of stuff play a part.
Once you figure it out,
Yeah.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty textbook. Uh, what got us was the weather changed so much between Friday, which was like 35, 40 degrees,
Yeah.
to Sunday was 70. And
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, so it
So
a
that.
lot of us didn't. I changed a little bit, but I just didn't change enough.
Yeah, I
Um,
got you. Mm-hmm.
so, but no, I mean it's a great place to go. Like you should
Yeah.
make a trip up there. You don't really burn through tires. You honestly could probably use the same set of tires for practice qualifying and the mains.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's not 70 or 80 degrees out. Now, I smoked a brand new set of tires in the main, like they're bald,
Yeah.
but it was also 70 degrees. So,
So yeah, so it's in between and running those soft
yeah.
and super softs and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's
Clay compound, man. Just
clay.
that's all you
Mm-hmm.
need, clay compound.
I got you. I got you. But yeah, bro. So like I said, man, I know you started up. Yeah, you just started a lawn service at first, and you got that going.
Yeah.
So how did you how you managed to start that up and also maintain your RC racing? And first of all, how did you get into RC? And then we'll go into that and see how
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
All right. So, it's kind of a funny story. When I was younger, um, I kind of had a small learning disability. And as a crutch, my dad
Yeah.
seen that I loved RC cars. And he was like, hey, listen, you overcome this pretty much. I'll buy you this RC car.
Gotcha.
And dude, I've always been a kid that was drove by motivation. And so,
You
I
got
said, I looked at him and said, bet. And
right.
it
Yeah.
was over after that. So he ended up buying it for me. And when I first started, I raced oval for like a year and with the Nitro Wrestler class. It was like a stock class they had. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not an oval person. Nothing against oval people. It's just not for me.
I got you.
Um, and then I'm actually looking at one of my very first plaques. This whole room is surrounded by everything I've won in my lifetime.
Got you.
Uh, but my first off road race was in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Went to a Triple X T Losi, just stock car.
Stock car.
You're running I think it's like the monster engines or the
Okay.
chameleons or whatever they were back then.
Your little can,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like old school. Like NiCad
Right.
batteries, 1500s.
Brush.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's where it really started for me, and I'd done that for a couple years, and it got to the point to where I was winning all the stock classes, and it was trying to move up to 8 scale.
Okay.
And when it hit that point, my mom had said, "Hey, it's getting to a point we can't afford to pay for it anymore. You either pick up sponsors or
Yeah.
you're gonna have to quit."
Yeah.
And so just had a Hail Mary attempt. I'd sent resumes out with just what little races I'd had in a couple years of just 10 scale racing to all these
Mm-hmm.
people, and Sin was the one who reached back out,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so they picked me up
Yeah.
probably when I was like 11 years old,
Right.
and that's when I picked up my first 8 scale chassis sponsor.
Okay. Who was your first A scale chassis sponsor?
It was Sin
Sin.
Racing,
Okay. Sin Racing. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
the Matrix buggy.
Yeah. Well, shoot, man. Like I say, we all start from somewhere, man. And
Oh yeah,
I remember those days because I started. Actually, I started with my first really race grade. I started, first RC car was like that golden era from Radio Shack.
yep,
And then I went from there to getting my own really race grade, and that was that. It was a HPI MT. Um, it was a 4-wheel drive 10 scale truck at the time, nitro. And
yep.
had to build that thing, man. First nitro build, bro. I had to build that thing about 10 times before I got it right. But the guy, it was an auto shop up there in Auburn, Alabama, and a guy out there, I forgot his name, but he was just real cool and just took his time with me to Corey. Cause you gotta go back and you gotta rebuild this, and we
Yep.
got it together and got it straight, man. And just I've been in love with it ever since, cause I started off myself, and maybe similar to you, I was I was playing football, um, but before then, elementary school, I was also diagnosed with having dyslexia. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay. Yeah.
and so just through all that, man, and really learning how to. This is why I say RC is so awesome with kids that's labeled dyslexia or whatever disability that they may label you with, but you really may just need time to mature. You know what I'm saying?
That
Grow.
was my case, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just
yeah,
behind the 8 ball.
right. And so just from there, man, it just really taught me how to well, at that time, I really got into sports first, and then I got into RC. But still, saying that is even with kids that's labeled like that, and that's diagnosed to have disabilities like that or whatever. The RC sport is awesome because you got to have focus, and
Yep.
then you learn how to
Discipline.
socialize, discipline, socialize with others. You know what I'm saying? Team sports, and how to, on top of that, then it teaches you how to work with your hands, starting with tools, building stuff. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
So yeah, man. So yeah, so y'all, bro, we in the same boat, man. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh yeah.
yeah, man. So okay, from there, from the 10 scale, you get sin,
Yep.
and they gave you your first sponsorship. So from sin, when did you start really racing and getting on to off road A scale?
So from the Sin era, we went through that for probably about 5 or 6 years, and
Mm-hmm.
my first major win was we had this championship series down here between a local track we had called Dalton RC and Battlefield RC.
Mm-hmm.
And every year they would have this massive championship series, and it was like 8 races long. And the biggest one they ever had was the first one they ever had.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember winning it. I've still got the picture; it's somewhere in here. The trophy was as tall as I was, and and Pro
Yeah.
Nitro Buggy's the glory class. That's the one everybody wants to win.
Oh yeah. You already know for sure.
Um, so
Mm-hmm.
that was the first major win that like set it in stone. Um, and then not long after that, Sin had kind of closed down its doors to
Mm-hmm.
the 8 scale racing department,
Yeah.
and it forced me to go privateer for a while. Luckily, by then, I had picked up enough hobby shop sponsors, which would be Battlefield RC, which is still open today.
Right.
And they pretty much privateered me a Losi 2.0.
Okay.
And man, like the jump from the 2.0 from the Matrix, like you're talking about such a significant faster car, better cornering, better jumping ability. Like it was just not even honestly, it was cheating.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
when I picked it up, man, I won everything there was to win. I mean, it's crazy the championships and RC Pro Series, and you know
Yeah,
all the stuff that I'd gained with that car.
I got you. Okay, from then, bro, from you coming, I'm assuming this time you running, sportsman class and stuff like that. And
No,
okay,
actually, I've never ran sportsman.
okay, okay.
Even when I started out, this is the reason why though. I was
Mm-hmm.
told when you pick up a chassis sponsor, and we're talking, I'm 31. This is 20 years ago. I would have been
Right.
like 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
I was told you have a chassis sponsor, you can't run sportsman, and that was the tracks that I raced at. That was their logic, and so um, I have my entire life I've never entered a sportsman race. Not because I have anything against them. It's just what I was told
Right.
off the beginning because of the sponsorship.
I understand. That's what
So I
people
was thrown
says,
to
and
the
that's
wolves
a
right off the
yeah.
bat.
Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of the guys that I've been talking to with they're just a hot topic in RC right now. Is there's that sportsman class and how should they have sponsorship? Just back
Yeah.
and forth on that topic or whatever. And okay, from there, man, like I said, you skip sportsman and jump right into intermediate class, open class, and so just for the guys that's getting into intermediate class, what would be some of the things that you would um give them advice on, just once they getting into that class, what things should they focus on to get them
So,
going
uh,
solid in that class?
so racing at your local track to racing at these big events, like any race time event, the biggest thing I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you is number one, the race is won at home wrenching. It's not won at the track because you can't
Mm-hmm.
win the race if you can't finish it.
Right.
And
Makes sense.
there's a lot of fast people. I mean, a lot of and people who are faster than me that enter this class
Yeah.
that they don't ever finish. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can't win it if you're not the last one across the line.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, like you have to, your mechanic ability on the cars has to be, and I don't say this to be boisterous, but you got to out mechanic me.
Okay.
Like you got to out set up me, you got to out mechanic me, and then on top of those two things, you got to out drive me.
Mm-hmm.
And so the driving part, honestly, is 50% of the battle. Making sure that the
Okay.
car is mechanically sound, that's all done at home before you even
Right.
come to the track.
Right. I be telling them, like when I do my little videos and stuff, when I do my YouTube stuff, I do my videos and I be preaching. Do your maintenance.
Oh yeah,
Even if you going out to just
the
out to
club race.
bash. Yeah,
Yeah,
club way or just bashing. Do your maintenance, go over everything so you can have a
yep,
good evening out there running. You know what I'm saying? And you can really have fun and enjoy and learning how to drive because your car is in good shape. You know what I'm
yep.
saying? So yeah, bro. So yeah, okay, maintenance and then what? What would you say after maintenance?
Uh, the second one I would say is going to be, so some guys have an ability to
Mm-hmm.
like flip a light switch when it comes to qualifying, to where in practice they may not look that great, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden when it counts, they'll flip a switch and they'll start putting down the heaters and qualifying. And I'm not even that myself, but what I would tell people is like when that buzzer goes off,
Yeah.
you got to have a whole nother focus. Like we're not just running laps anymore. We're
Mm-hmm.
not, you have to focus on every inch of dirt that car touches. And I'll give you a good example. So I mean, I'm sure everybody knows Jonah Wilson,
Yeah.
the new
Mm-hmm.
upcoming star.
Mm-hmm.
That kid's fast because I've taught him everything. He's my protege.
Okay.
I've taught him all his setup knowledge, all his driving knowledge, and he soaks it like a sponge, man. He's amazing. He runs with it.
Yeah.
I mean, he even still, calls me and talks to me about stuff, but people don't realize that they have the ability when they're out there on the track, that when that buzzer goes off, that you can follow your car with like a laser vision. And if you choose to do it, you can run a
Yeah.
flawless qualifier. But if your mind wanders at all, or you lose concentration, or just focus at all, that's when you start making the mistakes. You know,
Right. Mm-hmm.
wondering who's in front of you, who's behind you. You can't focus on any of that. Typically, I kind of like to pick a car that's in front of me, and I kind of
Right.
want to chase them down, and then I want to pick the next one, and I want to chase them down, and that's what helps me keep my speed up during a qualifier.
Okay.
Um, but for me, truthfully, qualifying really isn't the most important part to me.
Yeah.
I kind of get hit on with this a lot because people think that I end up sandbagging during qualifiers because sometimes I won't TQ them or like I'll end up qualifying like 10th or something in the open A main.
Yeah.
And then when the mains come, it's like somebody flipped a light switch, and that's where I know like there's no bull crap, there's no mess ups. If you're gonna win this thing, you better throw down the best run of your life. And that's how I end up getting them because in a 30-45 minute race, I'll
Yeah.
wreck one time.
I got you. I got you.
And
So how did you get to that point where in a 35 to 45 minute race you can wreck, you'll wreck one time? What are some of your practice habits? Things you
so
do in practice? Mm-hmm.
well, so I actually don't practice anymore, but used to
Mm-hmm.
when I did practice. I would actually take orange cones to the track with me, like little cones that are a foot tall, and I would go out to parts of the track that I knew I struggled on, and
Yeah.
I would put them in those corners.
Mm-hmm.
And if I came through the corners too hot, I'd hit the cones.
Right.
And so anyway, I would make my lines tighter and tighter with these cones to eventually, to honestly, you could only fit a buggy through the cone, like
Right.
between it and the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And you're either going to go outside of the cone or you're going to go on the inside of the cone. Um, and then I kind of stole this one from Tebow years ago. Tebow does time practice sessions whenever he's practicing.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know if he still does this. I just seen this a long time ago. And so he'll set a timer and he'll act like he's running a qualifier, or he'll set a
Right.
timer and he'll act like he's doing a main, and he'll do like full pit stops and everything.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's not a bad way to do it because what you're doing is you're building up your mental endurance to be
Right.
able to run, a 30-minute main without wrecking and focusing that hard for that long.
Mm-hmm.
That's why so many of these kids who get into this, like they're so good, is because of these video games they play and they have that mental focus to keep up with it for 45 minutes to an hour.
Hour.
And then
Right.
I hate to
Mm-hmm.
say this, but you get people like me who are getting older and I'm losing that ability to have that stamina. And so like I'm having to try that much harder to keep up with it, to not wreck.
Mm-hmm.
And but the biggest thing is just honestly just running the laps. Just running the laps, knowing how your car feels. Your car should be like an extension of your body. Like when
Right.
you're on that track, you should be able to feel the dirt like your car feels the dirt. And once
Mm-hmm.
you run a car that much to where you feel like you feel it that way,
Yeah.
that's kind of how you know you've got to that point to where you can go out and just practice as much as you need to and just pretty much never wreck, drive in the pit lane, set up, change, go back out. You don't really need anybody's help at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, for years I went to the track by myself and never had anybody to walk out and turn marshal for me. So it kind of
Yeah.
sucks walking down the driver's stand to go turn marshal yourself.
You like by yourself? Ooh, man, you talking to a person that I've been done that, do it all the time, but I'm getting better. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yeah, man.
you
It's
right, and like I said, them cones. Hey, man, hold on a second. I'm gonna show because I done videos, man. They think I just be talking, bro, about getting you some. Hold on. I'm gonna show you. Hold on,
he got the cones. Yep.
bro. So yeah, bro. I just like I say, I be telling them in the videos, get you some, just some like you were saying. I know these are not the tall ones, but
They work though.
yeah, and you can see where you need to be, and you can really work on your cornering, and you can work on, what I'm saying, your corner entrance and your break points and stuff like that, and just
Something I
car
actually used
control.
to do to the
Mm-hmm.
local tracks, because our local track a long time ago was red clay. It was Dalton RC.
Yeah.
When they would go out and paint the straightaway, like for the starting grid,
Mm-hmm.
I'd grab the paint from them real quick and I'd go to the corners and I would spray paint like a dot, like a pretty fat dot. And that was to signify my braking times and also where I need to start turning into the corner. And not
Yeah.
like people didn't know that. They
Right.
just they were like, what's this weirdo doing out here spray painting a dot in the corners,
Mm-hmm.
or before the corners. And then people started catching on to it and they're like, oh, those are his braking points. Those are when he's going to come flying down the straightaway, lock it down, and start turning.
Yeah.
And so other people started following my lines too. But I
Mm-hmm.
did that for a long time. That was kind of I used to do stuff like mess with people too, just to be
Yeah.
funny. You
I
know, I'd
got
run directional tires backwards and stuff like that.
you.
But you know, it's all fun.
Yes, sir. But yeah, man, gotta keep it fun. Gotta keep it fun. But yeah, man, those hey, man, you dropping a lot of nuggets here. I hope people got their pens and paper and tablets out and taking notes or whatever, cause you giving the game away. You know what I'm saying? So,
Oh
but
man, I love helping people.
yeah, man, that's what it's all about for real. And like I say, if y'all don't have a pen and paper, y'all know y'all can rewind this and listen to it again, and y'all can pick up what you missed off on. You know what I'm saying? So hey. Yeah, so but yeah, bro. Okay, you're practicing. You got your break points and your turns and everything down pat. And so, okay, what was the point where you was like, okay, maybe I feel like I can do something in this, saying in RC. When did you really click? Like, okay, I,
So yeah, I would have to honestly say
mm-hmm,
we actually ended up building a track in the yard.
okay,
And as a kid, and you know, we're talking young, it'd be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning in the summertime, you know, didn't have school. And I'd be out there burning battery packs practicing.
yeah,
And where it really just started turning was honestly, whenever people start noticing you and you don't notice yourself, and I
yeah,
do this to people now. Like I love to help new talent. Like you can tell when somebody's got it.
mm-hmm,
You know, when somebody's just a natural for this, and you're like, man, if I could put my controller in your hands and give you like a couple hours at the track, you're going to be quick.
yeah,
Um, that's whenever it started to click for us because just these random people and like random companies started reaching out and just started
mm-hmm,
wanting to help. And
yeah,
you know, it never got anything really for free. You know, I always
right,
had to pay for something.
yeah,
But when people started offering, like, you know, modify the engines, you know, like Uriah Mernon from Mernon's Modified Motors, um, he was the one that picked me up a long time ago. I still have him. You know, he still
yeah.
does my engines.
Yeah, that's who does mine. When I need an engine pinch or something, I send it right down under George to Mernon. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
And he's
yeah.
amazing. I actually got
Mm-hmm.
off the phone with him right before I got on with you.
Okay.
Uh, got to get my engine, you know, program on point.
Yeah. Freshen
Um,
up. Mm-hmm.
but no, it just all starts clicking together. Like when you've got all these people that are willing to help you
Right.
and push you forward, and they want to see you do good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the number one race that probably propelled me to kind of put me where I'm at now, I was probably fast forward. I was probably 16 or 17-year old now. I'm racing
Mm-hmm.
a low C 2.0 buggy and a
Okay.
low C 2.0 truggy. And this is at the AMS facility, but it wasn't AMS. Back
Yeah.
then, it was called the Alabama Indoor Classic, and it was owned by Joe Horton.
Joe Horton. Yeah, that's a good friend of mine. Stayed up there in Shelby County down
Yep,
there in
yep,
Wilsonville. Cause he
yep,
had a track in front of a old flea market. You know what I'm saying? It
yep.
was me,
Yeah.
yeah, me, Chauncey Mack, and some other guys back then. Alan Burton, he was doing his thing then.
Yep.
So yeah, bro. I know I'm right along with you, man. Yeah.
So
Yep.
we went to that race, and the owner of Battlefield, he took me down there, and you know I'm a young kid, don't have a lot of money, and Dion was the one that was doing my engine program back then, and I was scared of blowing up my engines. You know, this track was big, long straightaways,
Yeah.
and after the first qualifier, I was qualified like 20th, and Dion was like, "Man, what are you doing?" And I was like, Dion, I can't afford to blow up motors. Motors weren't made that great back then. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
You
you kind
right.
of had to
Mm-hmm.
be easy.
Yeah.
Um, and I just remember him looking at me and being like, you go out there and you sling the rod through it and you make
Mm-hmm.
sure you make the A main. And if you sling the rod through it, we'll fix it and we'll put something else in there. He's like,
There
but
you
I want
go.
these stars in the A main. And it's like, I'm one of those people to where you can kind of talk rough to me and it
Yeah.
motivates me.
I got
It
you.
has the
Mm-hmm.
opposite effect. And anyway, I ended up going out and, you know, setting the track on fire. I don't remember where I qualified, but I remember I was in the A main in both classes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that was kind of like the proving point to me that I had the ability to be in the show.
I got you. Yeah. And it was all just about just letting go.
Yep.
Having confidence in what you're doing. You've been running. You got the skill. But
Yep.
now it's just go head on and put that speed and just let go, whatever, you know, within reason.
Oh
I
yeah.
know we pinned to win it, but if you just letting go, you know what I'm saying? Just let your mind be free and go head on and run the race like you really running a race and not just putting and you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
So holding yourself back. So yeah, bro. Yeah, that's what's up, man. So you just really just like I said, just put out everything you cares to the side and just and race.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
okay, okay. From there, man. Like you said, okay. Once you started, getting into it and progressing at 1A scale. So when did was your business with the landscaping service, was that part of
Oh
you
yeah.
funding yourself? When did
Man.
you start that with? Yeah.
So, all right. This is kind of a little funny one. So, my mom had a neighbor that lived next door,
Mm-hmm.
and this is when I still had a track in the yard. And I didn't have, I was like probably 13, 14 years old. And every
Mm-hmm.
summer I'd go work for him mowing grass. And he actually paid pretty well.
Yeah.
It was enough to where it funded my RC stuff through the summer, kind of took a financial strain off my mom.
Okay.
Winter times would hit, it'd kind of go back on her.
Yeah.
And then, man, the day I turned 16, had a driver's license, had a truck, went straight to the
Mm-hmm.
courthouse, took out a business license, and I never looked
Okay.
back. Um,
So yeah,
I
because a
mean,
lot of time. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I used to like when I had got my business license, I used to mow, high school teachers' lawns.
Mm-hmm.
When you start out, you take anything you can get,
Right.
and so that's also when I had met my wife, Kara, was at the
Okay.
same time, and so the
Mm-hmm.
money was also not just for RC racing, but so I could take this little beautiful gal out on the weekends when I wasn't wrenching and racing, and I could have
Yeah.
spending money to take her to the movies, do whatever.
All right. Get us something to eat. Yeah. I got you. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Okay. So like I said, a lot of the guys I know, like at one time, going to school and racing
Yep.
and going to college, and a lot of guys on here that's either got their own business or either they're going to college. So how did you, just to help them, how did you kind of figure out your schedule where you could actually do both and really stay up on your racing as well as your work and stuff like that?
So in high school, I raced and worked all the way through high school, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got lucky. Um, Somehow I convinced my high school to let me do work based learning when I was a senior for myself.
Yeah.
So I had to, pretty much I had to show the income I was making, but
Mm-hmm.
I only had to come in for like 1 hour of school a day, and then I was released to go to work. And then I graduated as a normal high school senior at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But as soon as I graduated high school and I went to college, I did have to quit RC for
Okay.
probably about a 2 year span because I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't keep up with the demand of my business and then the studying and tests for school.
Right.
And I had to give one up. And
Okay.
so I
Okay.
ended up having to give up RC for about 2 years. Um, you know, and I told all the sponsors what was going on. Some of them decided to say, some of them left, which was no,
Okay.
it was
Right.
no big deal to me. Like they just had to
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Right.
But I took that time to build the business, and man, lawn care wasn't originally supposed to be what I was going to do for the
Mm.
rest of my life.
Right. I
Um,
got you. Mm-hmm.
I have a degree in criminal justice.
Okay.
I was originally supposed to be a state trooper.
Yeah.
The last semester of college, I broke my knee in a real bad motocross accident.
Oh.
Had
Mm-hmm.
kind of gotten into riding dirt bikes the last semester of college.
Okay.
It was a little bit laid back. Anyway, broke my knee, and
Yeah.
we had some troopers come in and tell us how much money they were making a year, and I was already making more money than what they made. And I was
So,
like, dude, that's for the
less
bird.
risk.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
Yep.
not doing that. Like you deserve more money than what you're making. You got to love what you do. And dude,
Mm-hmm.
I love all EMS and police officers and firefighters, but man, they're so underpaid. It's pathetic.
Yeah. You're right about that. And that go along with like teachers and all that. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And it's crazy, but yeah, bro. Like, yeah, man. Like I said, similar to you, man. Like I went in college and I kind of got away from RC because it is a toll on you. But I just feel like because um and I graduated, got my degree in interdisciplinary studies, and like I said, like you, kid that was, what I'm saying, that diagnosed with disability as myself, dyslexia,
Yeah.
you know, had RC, did other sports and stuff like that, was able to got your own business going. This just helped motivate young men and women that's, trying to do some stuff for themselves and entrepreneurship, either doing social media stuff, that it can be done. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you do might have to sacrifice a little bit
Yeah.
to gain in the end. So now you got everything established, and now look, you back in RC, deep into RC, really. You know what I'm saying, and
Oh
doing
man.
very well. You know what I'm saying. So it
I'll
just,
uh, I'll
mm-hmm,
share a quick tidbit with you real quick. Not a lot of people know it at the track when I come to
mm-hmm.
race, like these big events. I don't practice anymore like I should. I need
Yeah,
to start practicing again, and I don't go. I don't do any club races. I only do the race time events and other big events, and that's it.
right.
Um, but for the last 10 years, man, I literally killed myself for 10 years. It took a toll on my. I've got 4 kids under 8 years old. It took a toll
You
on
in
my
time.
kids,
Right.
took a toll on my wife. But with all that being said, I don't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've got crews that do everything, and it's this coming October will be 2 years since I have actually been to physical work. Now I still run the company. I still give
Right.
estimates. I still talk to clients. I still do work. I'm not doing the physical labor of things anymore.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot more dad things now, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and people got to understand that to get to a certain point, things have to be sacrificed. Like you got to sacrifice something to come out on top,
Right.
and I hate to say that, but something has to suffer along the way for you to come out. And that goes for life, business, racing. Something has
Mm-hmm.
to suffer for you to be good at it.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's it. Like I said, man, it's a sacrifice, but if you're diligent and you're doing it in the right heart and you're really trying to advance your family and
Yeah.
with myself, I had to keep God in it too. He the head of everything for me, but you keep you keep your priorities straight and in order, then the things that we like to do and really we love to do, it just, if we do it like that, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna come right back to you. Like with
Oh, yeah.
for our, for our example is, RC racing and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if you're diligent and you stay persistent, if you want to be good in RC, you again, like you just said, you have to make some sacrifices. You know what I'm saying, to get where you want to be. And but yeah, bro, and just tell everybody from that, tell everybody your successes in intermediate, the things, the play, what I'm saying, the races you won, AMS and PMBs and
Yeah.
let everybody know. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 2021
Mm-hmm.
was the first time I had ever. Now, and I used to run pro. Back before really all of your fast California guys started coming down.
Yeah.
And I was at a point to where I could make the A main and pro at all these big events, but I couldn't get
Mm-hmm.
on the podium. I just wasn't fast enough. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
the best I ever done was like sixth place at Wicked Weekend, like 2019 or something like that.
Okay.
Um, and years before that, like P&B number 5, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'd got fifth in Pro Truggy. This is like the Adam Drake Losi era, like 2.0 Losi era.
Yeah,
But
there's PNB. There was like in Unadilla.
yep, it was Unadilla.
Yep.
Yep, and
Got
that's
you.
actually how I got my J Concepts deal too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these
Mm-hmm.
people are just giving sponsorships away, and I'd actually went to Jason Rona at that race, and I was like, "Man, what do I got to do to get on your team? Like, I really need some help in tires." And he was like, "I want a podium," and that's how I got my JC deal, was getting on the podium at that race.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about that. So anyway, back in 2021, I decided to enter P&B and Open.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't been racing, and I was like, I'm not pro, like I'm not Mayfield fast, I'm not Tebow, and I'm never gonna be, and I'm okay with that. And I was trying to gauge where I should be at in a
Mm-hmm.
class,
Right.
And so I was like, I'll enter open. I'll give it a shot. We'll see how I do. And so had the Hot Bodies buggy. Wasn't sponsored by Hot Bodies.
Right.
And this was when Hot Bodies had just released the new truggy that we have now.
Okay. Evo. Mm-hmm.
Somebody had given me a Hot Bodies truggy, the old Hot Bodies truggy. It was like the the one before the
Basic.
Evo. Yeah.
Okay. Todd Testament edition.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was out there racing against all the new stuff with the old one, and the main event hint for Truggy,
Right.
and it came down between me and Chris Morant. Now, dude, this is gonna blow your mind when I tell you this. So in one ear, I had in AirPods listening to music, and in the other ear, I had on a headset talking to my pitman Paul Conway.
Yeah. Okay.
And I didn't know that I had won.
You was just locked in.
I just drove a flawless race.
Yeah.
And I come down the driver's stand and everybody's like shaking my hand. And I'm like, what's going on? They're like, dude, you won. And I was like, no, there's no way. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you won. And come to find out, I'd end up beating Chris Morant by like 20 feet.
What?
And
Hey, man. Yeah.
so, like, 2 or 3 hours later, the buggy man comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Morant ends up beating me by like 40 feet.
Had to get some get back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
that's really what set it on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, and I enjoyed it. Like I really enjoyed being competitive again
Right.
and, battling for wins. And I didn't have in my mind that I was ever going to win as much as I did. Like I want people to know that I never had that intention. I just wanted to be in the fight.
Yeah.
Every competitive racer wants to be in the fight for it.
Okay.
So, then we went to a Wicked Weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And by this time, Ryan Mayfield had just released his first engine at P&B.
Yeah.
A-Main put me on the team. Mayfield hooked me up. Now I've got some fresh engines in the cars. I've got the new Truggy now, the new Hot Bodies Truggy by Wicked Weekend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I go out there, dominate Wicked Weekend, win Truggy and Buggy in both classes. Went to Southern Nats, dominated it, won it. Went to AMS that year, won it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually the only open driver in history to ever win every event back to back to back to back to back.
I got you. So from there, bro. Okay, go ahead.
And then, we've had events between like that year, 2000 and, 22, 23, to where I finished second a couple times to people.
Yeah.
And then, obviously like you'll have some DNFs from like a part failure or something, like servo failure or anything like that. This past AMS where you had talked to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew or not, but I didn't even qualify or practice for that event.
Okay.
I didn't even plan to come. It just kind of lined up. My wife ended up going out of town. My babysitter was like, "Hey, I'll take the kids. Go have you a weekend." And so I left the house Saturday morning and hauled down there and ended up, that's the race you seen me in buggy. When I got there, somebody gave me a little wing button to put on my wing. It was a new product.
Okay.
And it was made of plastic.
Right.
And that's how my wing pulled off.
Mm-hmm.
So that costed me the bump spot in that. Well, then later that day, the open Truggy B main was up. And, I was using these mains as practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up bumping up in the Truggy B main to the A main. I didn't think I was going to win that. Like I'll just be straight honest. I just wanted to be in the fight though,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So that sparked a big controversy on I don't know his name. What is his name? Lefty.
Yeah.
Lance McDonald's. Like I guess they kind of had like a podcast about it because they were like, Cody showed up, didn't get no practice, no qualifying. Ended up winning the Truggy main.
Lefty podcast is the RC No Name podcast. RC No Name podcast. But yeah, Yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
we'd won that one, and then we came to SIC.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up winning Truggy in it, and then I had Buggy one, and my pit man had actually done the math wrong on my last pit stop.
Oh, you can get your time right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
he ran me a minute and a half too
Too
long,
long.
and
Mm-hmm.
I ended up flaming out at the end of pit lane. So luckily I was right next to him. He
Yeah.
got me fired back up. Got back out there, and I ended up getting second. If
Mm-hmm.
I'd had like another lap or two, though, I'd have got it. But I will tell you this: probably the best race that I've ever had in the last couple years was between me and Dalton Balboa in the Truggy
Okay.
class at
Mm-hmm.
SIC.
Yes, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
that was super intense.
Right. So who you say is your biggest rival in open intermediate class?
I would say Mike League,
Okay.
Chris Morant,
Mm-hmm.
Dalton Balboa,
Mm-hmm.
um, and there's been some other people who have randomly showed up whenever Patrick Rossiter runs it.
Yeah, that was gonna say Patrick. Yeah.
Yep, Patrick's super quick. Um, then there's been like just a couple people here and there who randomly will show up, and and I know what they're doing. Like everybody puts me on this pedestal, um, and they're like trying to dethrone me, and I'm a nobody, man. Like by no means I'm a nobody. Um, but they'll send people from like the 10 scale scene that are super fast, and they'll give them an 8 scale car and have them run
Yeah.
against me.
Yeah.
You, I've had people um, drive other people's cars for the intention just to wreck me in a main event. Like this is true. Like I can't make this stuff up.
They putting
Um,
hits out on you, Cody. Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah, it's bad, man. I've I've came back to my table before, like walk away too long,
Yeah.
and screws will be loose in the servos,
Mm.
like on the horn.
Mm-hmm.
I've had needles turned in engines. Start them up and they'll be like haywire, or they'll be super fat. You got to tune them real quick.
Right.
Like it's crazy, man. Like
They saying, oh man, no,
yeah,
not in sweet little RC don't get like
yeah,
this, Cody. What?
man. It'll shock you. The biggest one was the biggest one whenever this guy drove someone else's car to take me out in the main event.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you've noticed, dude, I suck in e-buggy. Like
Yeah.
I suck in the electric class. I make the
Mm-hmm.
mains, but somehow I end up getting wrecked in every single start of an electric main. Like I have the worst luck. Jonah Wilson laughs at me.
He already know
Yeah,
what's
he knows
coming.
it's
Yeah.
coming. He's like, "You're going to get
Yeah.
taken out. You know it's coming." But I had one event where I was actually pretty prospered to win it. Like I was just, all the sticks were clicking that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it didn't happen because I ended up getting wrecked, and I didn't know it was on purpose. And the entire main I was taken out.
Yeah.
Um, and so it ended up, coming out like a month later. I ended up
Mm-hmm.
getting phone calls, and people told me the truth of what happened and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't hold anything against the guy, or the guys.
Yeah. They try
It
to.
is
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is, man. Like, I kind of wish an apology would have been issued, but it is what it is. I don't hold grudges.
Right. Right.
I'm here to race. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. And,
Um,
and so yeah, so I got asked the question, man. So with all that being said, so how do you feel about how do you take it and how do you deal with when they say you sandbagging or he do
yep,
this, he
man.
do that,
I get
he's
that so much, man. Like it's so to say that I'm sandbagging. You're all those guys that I just listed.
mm-hmm.
I'm good friends with all those guys, but they are on out in the pits. We laugh and cut up together. On the track, we're straight rivals.
Right, like
But
anything else.
but
Mm-hmm.
to say that I'm sandbagging, you got to say they are too, because I'm honestly no faster than them. The only difference between me and them is I was able to string together 2 years of constant winning,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not really at their fault, because there were some races they just didn't show up to. And then there was other races to where, I just clicked on all cylinders.
Right.
The biggest thing, and I want the world to know this. After I had won so many of these events, Lance McDonald actually called me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we've never actually had to have an official rule on if you have to bump or not. Because at this point, he's getting a lot of complaints from people like, he needs to bump, he needs to bump, he needs to bump. And so it's an unofficial rule, but it is a rule they follow,
Mm-hmm.
is in qualifying, if you say they take 12 into the A main of pro,
Right.
not
Okay.
counting the bump spots.
All right.
They just, 12 straight qualify. If my qualifying time in open succeeds the 12th spot in pro,
Mm-hmm.
I have to bump.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, like say I qualify 13th in pro, and which is the
Yeah.
BQ, then I don't move.
Okay.
And a lot of these events I did TQ. I mean, there's a lot of events that I TQ'd pro buggy in, started on pole, led tone to tone, and won them. But I have never beat that rule. And the reason is there's so many pro guys who this is what they're paid to do for a living. They're flying
Right.
somewhere every weekend to race RC cars.
Right.
And I am fast
Mm-hmm.
and I am consistently fast, but their lap times are at least a half a second faster than me every lap.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't break I can't break into their times. It doesn't matter how hard I try.
So, so do you think this rule is fair? Do you think is
As in, it should be the only rule, and that's what we follow.
mm-hmm.
So
What? Okay.
I think it
Okay.
depends on the competition too that shows up.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Um, More people, and I'll say this has kind of done this for the open class. With me winning as much as I have, it's caused more people to drop down. And I'll give you an example. Patrick Rossiter is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He was consistently in pro and would make the mains in pro, but he was in the way.
Yeah.
And me and him had this conversation about that, and he was like, "I don't want to be in the way. I want to fight. I don't."
You want to
And
race?
we
Yeah.
all of us really fast guys, Mike Lee, Chris Morant, Patrick Rossiter, all of us, we had
Mm-hmm.
this same mentality where yeah, we want to win, but ultimately we want the fight.
Right. Fight for
Like
the win.
yeah,
You want to be competitive. You don't want to have to just killing your run. But go
yeah,
ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and so whenever that's really the only rule of thumb we have to go off of is what this rule that Lance made. That's really all we have to enforce it.
Right.
So I mean, I enjoy running it, and
Mm-hmm.
and really the people who complain about it are the people who can't even make the A main. Like these are the people who are in like the C, D, E main.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be different if a lot of the people who complain about it were making the
Yeah.
A main. The people who are making the A main, though, I've never had any of them say anything negative to me.
Right.
They're like, "Hey, you're the guy to beat. Like you, Chris, Mike, you guys are the ones that we want. Like you got a target on your back.
Yeah.
They want that fight too."
Yes.
Um,
With that, having you guys up front like you are, leading the pack, do you think it's motivating like the guys that's behind y'all? You know what I'm saying? Is without them knowing it is actually making them a better driver? You know what I'm saying? Trying to
I mean, well, whether they want to admit it or not, it has to make them a better driver because you're either going to try and keep up or you're going to drop down a gear and slow down and do what you think is fast. And
mm-hmm.
the only way you get faster is to run with faster people.
Okay.
With that being said, though, there are different divisions of pro. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I consider myself a pro, but I am like the entry level pro. And this is where my skill set stops. It's not going to get better from here. It's been like this for, going on what, 20 years now. And I don't have that little half a second that I need to find somewhere on the track to be up with Mayfield and all them, because I've tried and
Mm.
it's just not there. And the older I get, the harder it's getting too. And I'll tell you the truth, like my days are numbered. I mean, you coming in, and they're before long, they're going to be the ones that I'm going to be, trying to knock the door down on.
Trying to get. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so it, for me and these guys that I named off, it's our time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the open class, we are the Tebows and Mayfields and Lutz of the open class.
Right. I got you.
But
Mm-hmm.
our days are numbered, because when these young kids, when they start learning setup's the biggest thing. They start learning setup, it's over. As soon as I taught Jonah Wilson setup, it was over. I
So
mean,
when do you think it's a good time to really focus on setup time? Like
immediately. Like,
immediately.
I mean, as soon as a kid can grasp the concept of understanding tire
Mm-hmm.
compounds, because that's where it starts, is tire compounds, tread patterns, learning what to run, when, and where,
Yeah.
learning, 8-hole pistons on high bite versus
Mm-hmm.
5-hole pistons on blown out, diff
Mm-hmm.
setups on high bite versus diff setups on blown out. Like, I mean, immediately.
Right.
And then all these little changes in between, on shock locations, camber, anti squat, is the car jacking when it comes into a high speed corner? Do you need to
Mm-hmm.
go up or down on sway bars?
Right.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
all those companies that you got on that shirt, you're part of that invisible speed group.
Mm-hmm.
And, I own that book. I already knew everything in the book, but I bought it just to see if there was anything else I could learn.
Right.
Um, People need to do that. Like, they need to read the stuff. It's the only way you're going to get faster. Because if you're battling bad setup, you can only push the car so hard. Like, a bad driver can only make up for so much, or a good driver can only make up for so much of bad setup. You can
Yeah.
only go so fast before you can't go no faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to my point to where you start sucking again, and then the car's got to be awesome so you can go better. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay. Okay. So get back. Let's get back to this sandbagging topic. So okay. Okay. The guys you named that's at top of the intermediate class.
yeah,
Um. So like we just talked about, we run with the faster guys. We should eventually, gain some speed or either, get to that point. So, um, like you said, um, so have like I know you said you tried to run with Mayfield and
yep.
and the guys and stuff like that. So okay, when would you know that you never really going to get to that speed if you don't consistently do it or run with them guys?
So the number one
Mm-hmm.
was whenever I was going to these events and say I could make the pro main, I
Mm-hmm.
was in the same boat that Patrick Rosser was in.
Right.
I could make the main, and we're talking 5 or 6 years ago when I
Mm-hmm.
still had a little bit more skill set than what I have now, but I was in their way.
I
You
got you.
know, like
Right. Okay.
the only way I was beating people was number one, if they were braking, or number two, if they had a flame out, or if it was just lower class A main people, that was more my skill set.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I would drive flawless runs in, these A main pro races, Wicked
Mm-hmm.
Weekend or whatever. And the best I could do was like sixth or seventh. And it was even, I remember I had a weekend that was so consistent. I went back and looked at my times between Buggy and Truggy.
Right.
And I had turned the same amount of laps down to, there was a 2-second difference between the two car mains.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was that consistent. And that's how I knew. I was like, this is where my skill set stops. These guys, like these Mayfields, these Tebows, these Dakota Finns, they just got something extra that I don't have. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it's constant practice or if they're just born with it. But as hard as I want to try, it just doesn't happen.
I got you. I got you. I got you. I mean, that's understandable, man. Like you say, you have you have a whole business, you have a whole family.
Oh
So
yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So and a lot of those guys are just getting into that phase of life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yeah.
you know
Yeah,
what I'm
they're
saying.
behind the
So
eight ball.
right, right. So
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of young kids who come up in this and they get these full
mm-hmm.
factory rides and they don't develop their life. They're still living at home
Mm-hmm.
with mom and dad, and I ain't got nothing against it. I'm
Right,
not beating
right.
them down.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to quit RC racing to go start life. To have kids and all that.
Right.
Life's going to happen whether you want it to or not.
You're
And
right.
unless you're making six figures doing this, like a lot of people are,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to put it on the back burner to go start life.
I got you. Makes sense. It makes
Um,
sense.
But no, I mean, you can ask any question you want about the whole sandbagging thing, man. I've had long conversations with people over it. I
Man,
mean,
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's just cause I know you guys up there at the top of the class, and I know you hear it all the time. And like I said, when we talked before we got on the air, um, I just like to hear it from the guys themselves, other than reading it on Facebook,
yeah,
saying this person said this person said this. So I just be like, let's ask them and see what they think about
yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying? And that's be the best way to get everything out there, and we'll know exactly how the person feel about the subject or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So,
No, I mean, dude, I wish I was. I wish I could
mm-hmm,
pick another gear, and I wish I could get back to pro level. But here's the hard truth about it: I'm 31 years old. Well, I'm getting ready to turn 31. Sorry. And the older I'm getting, the less I practice. The I still love RC racing, but the
mm-hmm,
passion's not there like it was 10 years ago. It's not number one on my priority list like it was.
mm-hmm,
And I still want to go to these big races. I still want to compete,
mm-hmm.
but the hand and eye coordination, like it's not there like it was. I wanna be up there with those guys. I
Yeah,
watch those guys and I'm like, man, at one time I had to be that fast. But the reality is it's just not. You gotta be real with yourself sometimes. And for the
you do.
people who run the open class, and
Mm-hmm.
trust me, there are haters out there. Like there's people who are like, you need to bump and you need to be in the C main of pro so you can get faster. And I'm like, look, I wish it worked like that, but it doesn't. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've been in this for 20 years and I'll put my mechanic skills up against the pros. I'll put my setup skills against them. But when it comes to the actual skill set of,
Mm-hmm.
between a 37-second lap time and a 36-second lap time,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it. And, that's why there are us. We are those guys who, this is where we're at. I mean, I don't know if any of y'all follow Chris Morant on Facebook. That's a practicing fool.
Yeah.
That man practices more than I've ever seen anybody practice with an 8 scale buggy. I'm sure he goes through 5 or 6 8 scale buggies a year, the amount he practices.
Practices, yeah. Yeah,
And,
man. So
and his skill set is the same as mine. We're
mm-hmm.
fast, we're consistent, but we just ain't Mayfield.
I got you. I understand that. So have you ever thought about going out to the West Coast and
Yeah.
running?
Um, so I went to the Roar Nationals this past year,
Okay.
and my goal was to qualify for the Worlds, which I ended up qualifying 50th. I missed it by 10 spots, and
Yeah.
it was like running on asphalt. We would burn up a set of tires in 4 minutes. I mean, bald. They'd be bald.
Right. Uh-huh.
And I didn't figure the setup out until the main event. And if I would have figured it out sooner, I think I would have qualified.
Yeah.
With that being said, I am going to apply a resume. I've already got my passport. I do plan on going to the Worlds
Okay.
in Brazil.
Okay. Okay. That's what's up.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
my goal for the Worlds is I want to be top 50 in the Worlds.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, like I said, dude, top 50. We're talking about not even making the semifinals. It's just a small goal of mine.
Right.
I'll mainly be going, if I do get to go, for Cole Ogden and Jonah Wilson to kind of
Jonah
help them
Wilson.
with setup. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, bro. Like I said, I always wondered, was that on your list to do like a
Yeah.
Silver State Silver State or DNC,
Oh
just
man,
to really
I,
put you, you know,
I'd love to go to Silver State, but dude, I love Vegas, so I don't know if I'd be doing too much RC racing if I went to Vegas.
too much distractions.
Yeah, Vegas gets a hold of me, man.
I got you. Yeah.
But no, I have a sister-in-law who is a
Hmm.
traveling nurse, and she just went to Arizona to Phoenix.
Okay.
So she's not far from Adobe Mountain Speedway,
Hmm.
and there's another one. Mayfield told me. I texted him and asked him. So anyway, I'd thought about going out and spending like a week, spending 1 weekend at one track, one
Yeah.
weekend at another track, and getting to run at those bigger surfaces. Because that's why those pro guys, when they come to us at these big events, that's why they're so much faster. They run on those stuff all the time.
Right.
Those massive
And
tracks.
I think that, Code, I think that would help you if you get
It might. Yeah.
out there on the West Coast and really run with some of them intermediate guys out there, and mixing in a lot. I know I have seen Mayfield pitch you and stuff at a lot of races and stuff like that. I know, so it seemed like y'all got a pretty good relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you will, put a good word in with Mayfield. Just tell him EKJ, want to interview him and stuff
Yeah.
like that. One day. So, but
I will.
anyway, I'd see y'all got a good relationship, and so just getting with them guys, running with them. I believe that, and like I said, you can still do intermediate, just out there, different atmosphere, different,
Oh, they've
situation. Yeah.
they want me to come out there and run the intermediate stuff at the big events, like
Hmm.
TNR, Chris Nelson.
Yeah, that's on my list for maybe next year. You know what I'm saying?
And
With a couple of other guys. Yeah.
he begs me to come out and run the DNC Silver State, his TNR race. He's like, please come out here and run intermediate. He was like, these guys. He's like, they come to the race time events and you end up getting them. He was like, they want you to come out to their surface
Yeah.
and come see how you compare. And I would
Amen.
love to go, but what gets me is, by the time you hop on a plane, you go race and you come back, dude, we're talking about a week.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I have 4 kids at home under 8 years old with a wife who my wife is a registered nurse also.
Yeah, my mom's one. So
And
I get, yeah, and
yeah, it's hard to
yeah,
leave.
it is. You just plan it out, bro. Just plan it out. Get your little stash together, get your savings right. Talk to the talk to your wife. She might want to go out there and go shop. Cruise a
Oh
little
man.
bit on the west coast. You know what I'm saying? So y'all just
Yeah.
I'll make a weekend of it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I know you can fit it in, but I think that would be good. I think you really enjoy that too, just to get away from the south a little
Oh
bit.
yeah.
Just go out. You know what I'm saying? Like with Cole. You know how Cole went over there to Spain with Runnerfolk for
Yeah.
a month. You know what I'm saying? Which Cole is in a whole different situation. He can do that,
Yeah.
but I believe you would like that. Just get it and just run some over there on the West Coast too. And that way you will know for yourself. Okay,
Well, I would tell you what I do plan to do.
yeah,
We are taking our anniversary trip this year to Paris.
okay,
First time I'm going to be going out of the country, and
right,
that's originally what I got my passport for.
yeah,
They just had their nationals over there, and
mm-hmm,
I just happened to look it up, and the nationals track was like in Paris.
yeah,
So I was telling the wife, I was like, man, I got to take an e-buggy with me and just go run on their
mm,
track while we're there. Just let me burn a couple battery packs,
yeah,
so I can at least say I ran on a track overseas. But the Brazil one though, that's going to be a whole nother ball game. Like I got to start doing my homework on that surface.
yeah. So, yeah, that'll be good, bro. That'll be one of them bucket list races. You know what I'm saying? Or just go out there and just run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get out the US and go run overseas. And so yeah, so going back just far as back into like you said, when you was racing and when you had your the headset on, then you had your earpiece on.
Yeah.
How is that when you really start feeling like when you in that zone of racing? Um, what gets you in that zone? How do you know when you really in that flow, when you really locked in? Um,
Number one, dude, when the car feels amazing.
mm-hmm.
Like, like every driver knows when they walk up at driver stand and that car hits the surface after the down, or not the down and quiet, but after the staging area, by the time you hit the end of the straightaway,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you got a fast car. Like if it hugs the corner, it hugs the dirt. Like, and then you get this, this euphoric feeling, and you're like, man, it's on. Like I'm gonna drive this thing to the podium. And I like to set my cars up to where this is where a lot of people mess up, and I might be giving away some information here, okay? I like to set my cars up to where they get better as the main go on.
Okay.
I don't really necessarily want them real good off the bat because you're jeopardizing diffs blowing out, and once your shocks heat up, they might be they might not be thick enough in oil, and then your car gets twitchy and edgy, and it gets hard to drive. I
Yeah.
want the car by the 10-minute mark. I want it to be
Yeah.
as hot as it's going to be, and I want it to be consistent the entire race.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like those first couple laps, when you hit that and you're like, man, this car is amazing. It's so easy to drive. Like it's just up to me.
Yeah.
And then when a main event starts out great, because here's the thing about a main event, you got two options. It's going to start out great, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
going to follow the pack and slowly try and break away. Or it's going to suck, and you're going to wreck, and you're going to be
Right.
put last.
That was my next question. How you get through
Okay.
the beginning stage? Go ahead, break it down.
So if you can manage to stay in the pack and slowly start to break away, you can keep the momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like me and you have bad luck sometimes and you end up getting wrecked the first corner, somebody runs up your rear end, and
Mm-hmm.
then the turn marshal waits for every car to go by before they grab you.
Yeah.
A good pit man helps, because then he's like, all right, we're going to do this the hard way. And I'm going to tell you a good pit man, I'll call him out. His name's Mike Tudor.
Mike Tudor. Okay.
Mike,
Yeah.
Mike's a good one. Mike will be like, hey, you can't finish no worse than last. So let's start clicking them off.
Yeah.
And I'll start working my way up through the field, and he'll tell me like, hey, this next guy ahead of you, he's pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
You need to wait for your moment to pass him. Or he'll be like, hey, you're catching this guy pretty quickly. You should be able to get around him the next corner.
Mm-hmm.
First pit stop will come by. I'll be from like 15th to 9th. And he'll be like,
Yeah.
all right, man, you're in 9th. This is first pit stop. Come on. He's like, next pit stop, let's do it. And most of the time, by like the second or third pit stop, I'll be battling for the win.
Yeah. Okay.
And it ends up making it out, because what happens is the guys
Mm-hmm.
who are first, second, and third, they set a certain pace. Like they're pushing each other, but they're trying so hard not to wreck
Right.
that they actually slow down. And, I'm in the back of the pack, and I'm throwing Hail Marys here because I ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah. Trying to get
And so,
there.
I'm clicking off these fast laps trying to catch them. And then when I catch them, they're like, oh, crap, we got to speed back up again. And then they start making mistakes because they dropped this gear, and they've been driving comfortable for the last 15 minutes.
Okay.
And so sometimes you're able to get people that way too.
Right. I got you. Okay. So when you in that zone, and then when you just say you get caught up in traffic and you get back of the pack,
Yep.
how important is to maintain your being mentally strong in those situations? You know what I'm saying? And not just blowing,
Yeah. So
blowing it up.
you cannot blow a fuse. It's okay to get mad. And it's okay. Like, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I cuss, underneath the mic, just like any normal human being. But only be mad for that lap. Like, get your anger out. Don't wreck any more of that lap.
Right.
Make it back to the line, and then be like, okay, that's it. Like, I had one lap to blow my steam out, blow my anger out. We got to put it down. We got to start clicking it off.
Yeah.
It's got to be consistent. No more mess ups. And something to think about in a nitro main is, man, you got 30 to 45 minutes. You got plenty of time to turn good, consistent, clean laps to catch them. And now it's different in e-buggy. E-buggy, you can have no mistakes.
Yeah.
You get 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You wreck, you're screwed. You might as well just go ahead and salvage what you can.
Yeah.
And that's why I suck in e-buggy. But
uh,
I'm more of an
but
endurance runner. You know what I mean?
I got you. I got you. So, bro, let me ask you this, man. Do you think we ought to have more money races?
At big events or club races?
Big events, club racing. I mean, we
I'll
could
put it
put
to
a
you
little
this
few
way.
dollars up.
So
Either or. Either or.
I
What you
think
think?
I
Mm-hmm.
don't think the events should pay out more money. I think the sponsors should do more contingency money
Okay.
because this is why. If the events put up the money, people would literally fight over it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had sponsors who were like, "Hey, if you win Sportsman Buggy, like if," and I know this is like a controversial topic with sportsman guys having sponsorships. If you win Sportsman Buggy, you get a set of tires or something. Something meaningful but not really that big. You win Open Buggy, hey, we'll give you $100 or $200 or whatever. It's the sponsors who should do it, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
For most of us, we still pay for stuff,
Right.
and we pay for stuff all year long. And we're buying the best of the best equipment, and so when we do go out and we represent your product, and we win with it,
Mm-hmm.
there should be a kickback. You know what I mean?
You're right.
And for
For
most of these
sure.
companies, I will say, like most of my sponsor companies, there is something like they'll do something for you, like write you an email, hey man, proud of you, super awesome win,
Right.
stuff like that, or
Mm-hmm.
uh, just simple stuff. Um, so no, I don't really think the event itself should pay out drivers,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it should add up to the sponsors who kind of give something back.
I got you. I got you. It makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, because like I said, money races. I just felt like we should have more money races because I just feel like on the thing is true enough. Yeah, it kind of brings out
All brings out
the,
the bad.
yeah, but then again, it actually pushes those,
Yeah.
for example, the pro drivers to really be on their
Oh, yeah.
game. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Even more.
that Visions race does it.
Right.
They have the big payout. And I'm going to say this: if big races did start promoting payouts, it would probably only be an issue the first 2 or 3 races until people got used to races paying out,
Mm-hmm.
and then they wouldn't fight over the money aspect of it anymore.
That's
But
true.
but for the first couple of races, they're going to fight over it. Somebody's going to wreck somebody on the last lap for that whatever cash prize. And for the first couple of races, it's going to be an issue. And then after that, it's just going to kind of be a normal thing. Like, hey, yeah, winner gets this much money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would be nice if RC paid out because we do pay so much more
And travel
for
and
it.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. Um, what else I wanted? Okay, just with this, man, I just wanted to ask you. Like I said, I'm gonna get you out of here. I know, it's you're an hour behind, so
Oh,
I
you're
know it's
good,
getting
man.
late. But with everybody departing from HB,
Yep.
what made you stay?
I'm not a chassis hopper, man. I don't leave people because something like this ends up happening. This happened. This a similar thing happened with Serpent. I was on the Serpent team for years, and Paul Chicarillo, dude, he was the mastermind behind that team. That man's
Mm-hmm.
so intelligent when it comes to setup,
Right.
and I learned a lot of good things from Paul. He's just a good person.
Right.
And when he left the team, I remember the day he left, he called me and was like, "Hey, this is where I'm going. You already have a spot if you want it."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm just, I don't, I'm just not a hopper. Like, I'm not just going to go chase the next deal.
Yeah,
I'm not a paid driver.
I
So
got you.
money's doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I have, I make plenty here. So money's not an object. But when everybody started hopping the HB bandwagon, it was really nice at first when everybody was coming
Mm-hmm.
because, sell more product. We get to make more product. Ogden's testing more product. I'm getting to see more parts roll in, like, better cars, better stuff, better setups. But here lately, and I've been offered deals by other companies,
Right.
but I'm just not, I'm loyal. I guess I'm just old school, man. I'm loyal. I don't have a problem with the car.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the way it handles. I like the way it drives. I like that I know how to set it up. Um, it just, it doesn't make sense to me to leave it just because other people are leaving it. And you know how people are with RC cars.
Right.
They see something shiny and fancy, regardless if it's even faster, they want it.
They want it. You right about that.
And
I know. Mm-hmm.
you know, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave. I mean, I'm in this for the long haul. Honestly, they'll probably have to kick me off the team.
That's what's up. Like I said, that was one of my first really sponsors, HB, and I still run the truck now until Miyako get their truck or whatever. But hey, but yeah, man. Like I said, that's all I really had, bro, for you, man. And like I say, I appreciate the opportunity. And if you want to take some questions, we can go
Yeah.
into the chat and we take a few chat questions, whatever. Y'all got any questions? Y'all post them up. If y'all want me to ask Cody something that's on your mind. So, but yeah, man. Yeah. What? I'm gonna ask you this. What old school car you think would be competitive with the cars today?
Oh man. Um, Believe it or not, I think you could probably take a Losi 2.0
And
and
still.
it would still probably put out. The only thing is it wouldn't perform great on blown out surfaces,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if you took it to like a high bike track, kind of like Wicked Weekend or like AMS, it'd still probably do pretty well.
Yeah, I
Um,
got
you know, I never raced hot bodies back in the day,
you.
back
Mm-hmm.
in Tesman's era. So I can't speak on any of that stuff.
They were real good then, bro.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
won everything with it. It had to
Right.
be.
He went on a span like you of 2 years of just
Yeah.
dominate, like striking field. And people, you know what I'm saying? They ain't want to. Hey, who gonna come in second? You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah,
And honestly,
but
though, there's a lot of cars that could still win today. You can
yeah,
only change an RC car so much, man.
you're right. But yeah, RC Jers was saying he was saying what was your favorite HB buggy? What buggy you running now? Buggy and truck. What you running now?
So I run the World's Edition cars. I don't have the RSs anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As a team driver, we're supposed to run the latest and greatest, and I don't run the latest and greatest because that's what they tell me to run. I run the latest and greatest because I do believe it's faster.
Okay.
Um, I believe the world's car corners faster and
Mm-hmm.
launches out of the corner harder than the RS. There was a lot of people and people out in California who are running the old car still because I feel like it handles better on loose surfaces.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna be honest, I I can't speak for them because I don't have that issue. I think it comes down to you can't run the same shock setup on the new car you can the old car. It's got to be a little different, and
Mm-hmm.
you got to find that happy medium. Um, but I like the new car. I like the way it corners. I like how fast it is. I like how it accelerates harder. There's just things about it. It just does better to me.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why everybody's saying that it's not as good? It just ain't took time to get to know it.
I don't know. Ogden ran the RS at SIC,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I'm not. I'm friends with Ogden, but I'm not like real buddy buddy with him.
I
So
got
I
you.
don't
I
like.
understand.
I can't really pick his brain to know why he ran it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but a lot of people think the RS handles better on bigger tracks that kind of blow out. And I honestly, I don't feel that way about it. And I've got people here
Right.
who Hot Body's teammates who are running the RS and they are in the same boat as me. They're like, I'm not going back to the
Mm-hmm.
RS, from
Mm-hmm.
the world's car. We feel like we'd be taking a step backwards doing that. And not just because it's the latest and greatest version. Um, it's like going back to the old Truggy,
Yeah.
or the Truggy we have now. Um, And I've even seen some people do some weird stuff. Like I've seen people run the old RS rear end
Mm-hmm.
on the new car and keep the new front end on it. And they like the way it drives like that. I'm not doing any of that stuff. There's no need in it. Just figure
Right.
out the shocks, man. Figure out the setup. Go to the track. Spend a day testing. Get that stuff figured out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. My boy Tony Chandler said, what is your favorite RC ritual?"
Oh man. Oh, this
He
is a
said,
good one.
what is a must that you have to do before every race?"
All right, I'll give you an old school one, and then I'll give you a new school one.
Cool.
So an old school one
Mm-hmm.
was I always felt like I had to walk underneath the stairs of a driver's stand. Like I felt like if I didn't walk underneath the stairs of a driver's stand before a main event, like I wasn't going to do good.
Okay.
So I always made that a ritual to do that. And then a ritual now is I have to know my car is sound before a main event. Like I got to have new tires, body's got to be clean, car's got to be completely rebuilt head to bottom. Every screw on that car has to be touched by my wrench.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, I won't feel like the car's fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so like the mechanics are so detailed now
Yeah.
that that's my new ritual to where if I don't have 100% confidence in everything I've touched on that car, I'm
Mm-hmm.
out.
I got you. I got you. So RC drivers, they're superstitious like this, Cody, for
Oh yeah,
real?
man. Yeah, dude. The stair thing used to be a real thing for sure. It used to be a
Yeah,
real.
man. Yeah. Yeah, man. Jers was asking, what's your favorite engine?
So a Merlin modified B2104.
Okay.
That is the fastest engine I have ever put in a car. Like it's unbelievable. I mean, I've I've never passed people down the straightaway before.
Yeah.
When you can make a pass down a straightaway, because most RC engines are pretty equally maxed on top end power.
Yeah.
But at SIC, I had passed people down the straightaway for positions. That's how I knew. I was like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Roach was saying, yeah, he said he saw a lot of people jumping from HB to Sparko at a few tracks. He said he's closer down. He's in Loganville.
Yeah.
And do you think there's a specific reason why they jumped from HB to Sparko?
So honestly, I kind of know the people they're talking about, and maybe they okay. So when a new company like Sparko comes into the picture, dude, they got to get that car out.
Right.
And now this is the business owner coming out from Cody Ingram, not the RC side. And when you're trying to launch a new company, you're going to do whatever means necessary to get it out. And if that's offer people who say with Hot Bodies, they had a 50% deal. And then Sparko's like, hey, man, I'll offer you a 65 to jump ship.
Mm-hmm.
That may have happened. Now, I'm not saying that did happen. I'm not calling anybody out or anything like that. I'm just talking business to business here.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been what happened to get that out. Now, some people could have just been ready to try something else. You have a lot of people in RC who are like, man, I've been with this car for 3 years. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I've won 1,000 races with it. I just want to try something else.
Yeah.
I
That
don't agree
happens.
with that, but people do that stuff all the time too.
Yeah.
And it's that. Remember, I said a minute ago, it's that new and shiny thing. It's exciting.
That new
You know,
thing.
people
Mm-hmm.
want to try it.
So let me ask, why you saying that, Cody? Do you think that's a big deal with Fly Sky?
Say that again.
Do you think that's a reason why Fly Sky is a hot new controller now?
Oh, do I think they're offering to pay their drivers more to use their radios?
Yeah, Fly Sky radios, the Fly
Oh,
Sky.
absolutely. It's a business. Yeah, it's business. Man, all these radios, you can only get so many gigahertz out of a radio.
Right.
So many. It can only go crystallis, and it can only be so fast responsive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do I think it's a good radio? Yeah, it's probably a great radio. Do they all do the same thing though? Yeah. I mean, so hey, if Airtronics was paying you $500 to win a race, and then now this new company's offering to pay you $1,000, you know what I
What
mean?
you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
obviously,
you know,
right?
a lot of these
Obviously,
people, this is how they make their living, man. So they're gonna do, you know, what they got to do to make sure that their family's fed.
yeah. But yeah, man. But yeah, brother. I mean, like I say, I totally have appreciate this, and I think this was a great podcast with a whole lot of great, um, a bunch of goodies and a bunch of golden nuggets in it, man. And I'm sure this gonna get a lot of play because it's like I said, it's information filled. And brother, we might have to do a part 2 one day. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh man,
yeah.
I'm gonna get some comments on this one. I've actually already seen some stuff pop up, so I'm sure I'm gonna have some stuff to answer for, but it's all
Hey,
good.
it's all good. And like I say, bro, I just appreciate the time and thank you again. And I just felt like, man, a lot of times us podcasters and YouTube and video makers, we a lot of times stick with the most popular stuff and stick with the pros, you know what I'm saying? But it's good to get good grassroots people that's real relatable, that's close to your level, that you can get the truth from, that you can really get an idea of how to progress straight up through the ranks and what we need to do to just, you know, go from rank to rank and how to maintain while we in each class and stuff like that. So, but yeah, bro, man, like I said, I totally appreciate your time. And this has been great, bro. I ain't gonna keep you all night. We already been on an hour and 30 minutes. Don't seem like a minute.
No,
It just
man,
seems
it's
like we've
fine,
been
it's fine.
on, you know what I'm saying, maybe 20 minutes. But that's what happened when you giving out good information and we, you know, vibing back and forth. So, but yeah, man, again, Cody Ingram, the beast from the East,
Yeah.
doing this thing. Hey, and for the people that say sandbaggers, then, you know, hey, they just got to get over it. They just got to get faster. Because JQ jumping in the intermediate, not saying nothing against him, but it's his choice. You know what I'm saying?
He got beat too.
He got beat by Patrick, who we was talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, not him, other people too. We ain't calling nobody out, but we just using that as an example. You know what I'm saying? So, and like, people can say the same thing about Drake or whatever, but you know. So, bro, I just appreciate your time, and this has been awesome. And yeah, you know, once some more races get going, maybe after DNC, maybe going into after PMB, maybe we can get on again and we can talk about your experience at PMB this year, and again, maybe leading up into maybe Wicked Weekend or something like that. Wicked Weekend always a great race. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
yeah.
So yeah,
good.
bro. But man, totally appreciate it, man, and thank you.
Yeah, man, it was an honor. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And hey, you and your family, man, have a great night. And like I say, I totally appreciate this opportunity. And hey, bro, keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey, y'all. Another great episode of the RC Lounge. This your boy EKJ 24000. On here just, hey, we sharing out the great information to y'all so we can just get better at this RC racing thing. So it's EKJ, man. We out. Y'all get where we gotta go to work in the morning. So hey, y'all ain't gotta get off the internet, but you gotta get off of this channel right here though. You know what I'm saying? So hey, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good week, rest of the week. Y'all be a blessing to somebody. And we out. Cody, we out, Cody.
See you, man.
All right now. Later on, y'all.